Well, hello and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to meet our second rider and find out why he rides. And to do that, I'm going to ask a series of questions. They're generic for whoever sits here and does this. So let's just get straight to that and meet our rider. Where better to start than to introduce himself. So who are you? How old are you? Family, and what do you do for a job?
Hi, I'm Ads Neil. A few might see me on the group. I'm 49, married to Sam, have a son Thomas, 2 dogs, 2 border terriers, Doris and Hector. For a living, I'm in the armed forces and very proud to serve. Yeah,
What forces are you in?
I'm in the Royal Navy.
Yeah, I've got to say it. Senior service.
Senior service, yeah. So yeah, that's a bit about me, yeah.
So my next question for Ads is, how long have you been riding mountain bikes? And I'm not talking about from sort of childhood, because that's generally the same for most people, I'd say. But how long have you been riding MTB on the more serious front?
On the more serious front, I've been riding now for probably between 4 and 5 years, give or take. Yeah, definitely on the more serious side. And the reason behind that is I did ride MTB when I was in my early 20s. Used to ride up here at Queen Elizabeth Country Park and a few other places. But that was on an old, well, not old then, but a Marin Palisades trail. And that was before any trails were built up here. So it was mainly following animal tracks, etc. Yeah, so loving it. Yeah, and the problem, the break in riding was mainly due to my job being away from home and you know, going down the pub. That's it. Yeah.
That's the Navy for you. Always an interesting question I find is, what was the first mountain bike that got you into the scene of what we do today? So come on, mate, what was it?
Right, first, well, it's kind of like a mountain bike. It's more like designed over a motocross bike. It was a Rally Grifter, and I used to play around on that as a kid, doing jumps and that. I wasn't allowed a BMX, they were too expensive. But first proper mountain bike was the Marin Palisades Trail, and good strong bike. No suspension whatsoever. Good old rigid. Skinny tyres, you know, back as they were back then compared to today. But a great little bike, got me into it. Yeah, Marin. Yeah.
How much was that?
Oh, I think it was about 500-600 quid then, which was a lot of money. But I couldn't afford suspension or anything, so that was like twice as much. I didn't have enough money because I kept going to the pub.
So what bike do you ride now, mate? Because things have changed massively from 20 years ago. So what levels have you pushed yourself to expense-wise now?
Quite extravagant, to be fair. Currently riding a Yeti SB6. Really pleased with it. I've had it just short of 2 years now. Great little bike. Keeps me out of trouble. Got me into a bit of trouble, but yeah, love it. It's a great bike. Got everything. I had it built to, you know, kind of my specification, if you like, and yeah, really pleased with it. That's what I'm riding now. Yeah.
I think what we always want to know is not just what bike it is, but how much have you put into that build?
6,300, and that's with discount.
I'll tell you, discount.
It's
Pretty
horrendous,
expensive.
yeah.
Yeah, it's not a cheap sport, is it?
Not a cheap sport,
Oh,
but
dear.
every time I get on that bike, it puts a smile on my face and it makes me want to go riding. So, as far as I'm concerned, money well spent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What I find with some bikers, not all bikers, is that we're not always happy with the purchase that we have, and that's always the next model or edition that we want. So let's just find out, what is the dream bike?
Good question. Yeah, dream bike. Well, as far as I'm concerned, I've already got my dream bike, and it's my dream bike for the foreseeable future. Yeah, really pleased with it. So for me, what would be my dream bike? Well, cycling up hills, yeah, sometimes now, getting on a bit, 49. An e-bike, sometimes I wish I'd had an e-bike, but when I get to the top and enjoy the downs, then that's all gone away again. So for me, my dream bikes, I've currently got one. Maybe in a couple of years I might change the frame to maybe a more modern geometry or whatever's trendy then, and who knows, yeah, but already got one. Thanks. Yeah.
Ads said an e-bike.
I know, what?
Oh,
Yeah.
times have changed.
No, I don't mind e-bikes, they've got their place and they get people out, so, you know.
I'm only
That's it.
kidding as well.
Yeah.
I totally agree. If it gets you out, then whatever. Unfortunately, as mountain bikers, we don't always manage to stay on a bike, and therefore we come off, get washed out, whatever it might be, and the injuries start to come. Now, for some, might be lucky, but I know Ads has not been so lucky recently. So what was your worst injury?
Right, yeah, worst injury for me was the result of a pedal strike at speed. Can happen to any of us. Didn't have time to react. It was I basically removed myself from the bike at high speed. and landed awkwardly. Couldn't even curl up to a ball. But anyway, end result was a fracture in my collarbone, but it didn't actually part, but a fracture in that. Torn rotator cuff on my right shoulder, torn bicep, sore wrist on this side, broken wrist on this side, and a few ribs down this side, 3 or 4 ribs down there, my right hand side. Pretty grim, to be fair. Yeah, got myself up afterwards, trundled down the trail in a bit of pain, but thought, yeah, I'll be all right, probably wear off in a few hours. No. Had a coffee with a few of the lads who they know they are. And yeah, got home, got in the shower, like, no, straight to A&E. Yeah, and then in a cast. Brilliant. And the worst thing about it was I had to go to the Alps a couple of weeks later, and luckily it was snow season, but I had to watch everyone else enjoy themselves. And but then a couple of months later, I went back out to the Alps to go biking, and I was fit enough to ride. The physio was cool with that. She just said, just stick to the flat blue stuff, obviously.
Yeah, cheers.
By the end of the week, we were hitting a couple of more steeper stuff, obviously. But it's all good. Still recovering now, still on physio, so not quite right, but still riding and enjoying myself. But it happens.
That's what it's all about, and it does happen to the best of us. It really does. With many different styles of riding out there, what style of riding do you prefer? And I'm talking about, like, there's downhill, there's trail, there's dirt jumping, there's all sorts, but what is your favourite thing?
My favourite is trail riding, bit more edging towards the steeper downhill stuff, but nothing too horrific, certainly not in the Red Bull Rampage territory. But yeah, I like a bit of technical. I'd like a bit of jumping. I'm not very good at it. I do what I can. But mainly trail riding, you know, sort of alpine stuff, natural trails. And I also enjoy a good old bike park. So we've been up Bike Park Wales a few times, Chicksands. We've got Rogate just down the road. So we use those as well. But yeah, just getting out there really, yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
So that leads me nicely on to the next question. What is the best place you've ever ridden and why?
Best place I've ridden, it's a difficult question to be fair, because there's so many different variables in riding. But I think when I really enjoy myself is when I'm away from work, out in the Alps, and just riding the natural alpine trails. And those of you, there'll be plenty of you, I'm sure, who've ridden those sort of trails. There's just so much variety. You've got sweeping, smooth, single track, which goes into rooty sections, rocky sections, you know, a little bit of technical, steeper, you know, it just throws everything at you, and you can just keep going for miles and miles, and that I really enjoy. On the other hand, you know, back in the UK, I really enjoy out riding local trails. Really brings a smile on my face, especially when we're out with the guys from the group and friends and that. That's what's you know, puts a great big smile on my face as well. You know, whatever the weather, it's good fun. So not an easy question, but favourite riding is definitely in the Alps. So
Nice choice.
yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Such an important question here to finish off our session, and that is, why does add to mountain bike? Now, there could be a various amount of reasons why someone gets on a bike and decides to throw themselves down a trail, and that could be down to the social side, it could be down to fitness, health issues, or just a way or means of escape. So, in your words, Ads, why do you ride?
Yeah, why do I ride? Yeah, good question. I ride to put a smile on my face is the reason behind that. And yeah, so riding keeps me fit, which I enjoy keeping fit, and I think that's important. I ride because it affects my mental health. It makes me happier if I go riding. So I've been through a bit in my life. I've done a couple of tours over in Afghanistan. The second one was particularly tough because it was an unusual role for someone in the Navy, but it involved being out on patrol daily. I had a sort of 6 months infantry training, etc., to prepare me for that. So that certainly opened my eyes up, you know, and a few experiences in that tour certainly affected me slightly. And then when I came back, I also diagnosed with a kidney problem, which was took sort of 3 years, I'd say, maybe, to properly recover from, and that certainly affected my mental health. And I wasn't riding a bike, and you know, ballooned in weight. I was like bloody Mr. Creosote or something. It was just ridiculous. And I just thought I was uber fit when I went out to Afghanistan, because you have to be to carry all that kit around. And then it just all went wrong, and that had a big effect on my mental health. But mountain biking's dragged me out of that, and And now I'm fine, you know, the doctors are happy with progress and you know, not having any dramas with that. So mountain biking for me is all about social, fitness, out with your mates, putting a smile in your face, taking you out of your comfort zone, you know. That happens quite a lot, and just generally enjoying myself, you know. And I want to be able to ride my bike until, well, I want to ride it through the gates of hell, because I'm certainly not going through the gates of heaven. So that's it. Yeah, that's why I ride. I love it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, cheers for sharing that.
Yeah.
So I hope you've enjoyed that, because that's why Ads rides, and then some funny stuff along the way, and then the more serious stuff towards the end. And you know, Ads has been a friend of mine for a few years now. Bumped into each other down in Plymouth, and it's just fantastic that it takes quite a bit of courage to actually sit here and answer those questions and be honest with yourself, especially for people to view on YouTube as well, which he's well aware of. So cheers, Ads, for sharing that, mate.
More than welcome.
And of course, if you like what you've seen here, then give it a thumbs up. Throw your comments in down below, because I'm sure we'd both like to hear what you've got to say here. And what would be even better is if you subscribe. I'm going to try and do a series of these for whoever's willing to sit on the tree or the stump, wherever we go, and answer these questions. But until then, we'll see you for the next one.
Let's go ride. Do I need to add any more?
No. I'm going to put that in there. Do I need to add any more? It's nothing better sometimes than when you have a dog in the woods, yeah, but it's just getting in the way of the interview. And I can hear her shouting at the dog. It clearly doesn't do as it's told.
Disobedient dog.
See, I have a dog and it's mute, so we're quite lucky. It won't make any noise whatsoever. I haven't worked it out myself yet. That's how I roll. Just make it up, mate.
Yeah.
Just make it up.
Ooh.
Well, hello and welcome to the channel. What was I going to do before?